This is Talkin Hoopz, the show that discusses real NBA stories, gives you all the latest rumors, and gets you into heated debates.
It's dunks and layups. How many of his points have been jump shots? 0.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
0.
It's not happening. Not in this NBA. Maybe in the fantasy NBA that they're playing in, but not in this NBA.
We're going to challenge each other in practice.
We talking about practice, not a game.
Once the game starts, I mean, it's going to be easy.
You better get off whatever you're smoking.
Strap in, get your popcorn, put your headphones on.
This is Talkin Hoopz.
It's Rudy Gay checking out Talkin Hoopz.
Talkin Hoopz.
Talkin Hoopz, the official talk show of NBRPA Miami.
Talkin Hoopz starts right now.
Talkin Hoopz, talkinhoops.com. AJ, Kyle, as always, with you for the show. Mark Strickland at another basketball event. We'll be back next week, so we're wishing him a happy Turkey Day and everybody else listening. National Basketball Retired Players Association, the Miami chapter, NBRPAMiami.com. Official partners, check them out. But getting right into the show, Knicks, Nets, Portland continues to roll. Derrick Rose injured, out for the season. Bulls taking a big hit there. Will they trade Luol Deng? That's to be discussed. Portland just playing out of their mind. I did just say that. Kobe extension, injury update, and a lot more. But Kyle, how's your weekend, man?
And a lot more. Weekend was good. Looking forward to this Thanksgiving. Even though I'm working, I'm still looking forward to it. You know, I love Thanksgiving. Everybody loves it. Everybody loves to eat, get to eat on. So I'm looking forward to it. What's up with you, man? What are you doing? Big Thanksgiving plans?
You know it. I got huge Thanksgiving plans.
Huge.
Going into the city, eating at the Four Seasons, Thanksgiving night. And then my brother and I, as tradition, we like to go out on Black Friday and get all the hot electronics, trying to land me either a PS4 or an Xbox One. Still up in the air.
Good luck with that. You're not going to get it. So good luck.
Yeah, well.
Unless you pre-ordered it, you're not getting it.
Yeah, well,
we'll
see. Honestly, it's been a struggle. I've been in a little pickle with all this. I don't even know which one to get. I keep going back and forth. But I think I'm leaning more towards PS4 for anyone who actually cares.
That means I'm getting Xbox because you usually make bad decisions. So
okay.
PS4 is your decision, then I'm rolling with the Xbox.
Listen, I'm in a good mood tonight, and you're just hating.
I'm sorry.
Now. All right, shout out to my man Bernie for getting engaged. It's big stuff. Him and his girlfriend been together for a while, and I'm glad to see that he's engaged, and that's good stuff.
If we're just doing shout-outs, then shout-out to my boy Drake, because he also got engaged. So,
listen, we got to shout-out everybody on the show, all right? It's just the way it has to go.
You know who doesn't get a shout-out? The New York Knicks, right there.
No.
Because
no shout-out for them, that's for sure.
Shout-out for them. You shout at them, not for them, okay? You shout at the Knicks, because they are playing so poorly. And here's the worst thing, we spoke about it a little bit right before the show, is that when D'Antoni was running the Knicks, they brought Woodson in because D'Antoni couldn't get these guys to play defense.
Right.
The whole reason that Woodson was brought in was to help the Knicks perform on the defensive end.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And you look at the Knicks now, and they are lost on the defensive end. They don't know who to cover. They have no idea. You look at guys shooting wide open shots because they're getting lost. And they're 15th in the league. They're allowing almost 100 points per game right now. They're allowing 99.4 points per game. They're only scoring 93. So they're giving up more than they're scoring, average-wise. So something's wrong. If you're the coach brought in for defensive purposes and your team doesn't play defense, something's wrong.
Right.
Either you're not a good coach or these guys just don't care enough to do what you're saying.
Right.
So either way, something's wrong. I don't know. Again, I don't know.
I think it has to do with the flow of the game also. There's really no flow any game they've played so far, except maybe the Indiana Pacers game. This team just doesn't get into a rhythm. It's just come down, pass the ball once, either make the shot or miss the shot. There's no ball movement. And I think it's hard for players to get into rhythm like that, especially guys like Shumpert, where there has to be some sort of rhythm. There has to be, and there's not right now. So
it's like for the rhythm thing, I think Walt Frazier, one of the color analyst guys, the play-by-play guy for the Knicks, for those who don't know, he kind of takes shots at Melo during the game because, and he every time Pablo is in the game, he says something to the effect of, "At least now the ball is going to move." Every time Pablo Prigioni is in the game, he always goes out of his way to be like, "Pablo Prigioni, now the ball movement is going to happen," or at least now we'll see more than one pass, or now we see the game moving around. He always says something to that effect. Because it's so true. It's like they come down the court and it's get Melo the ball either on the wing or in the post on the block, and then that's it. That's the whole offensive set right there.
Right.
And he may score 27 and grab 14 rebounds, but it's the same kind of thing that when David Lee was in New York and Zach Randolph was in New York, they can get double-doubles until their face turns blue.
Right.
They're empty double-doubles. They don't equal wins.
Right.
These double-doubles don't equal wins. Melo can win the scoring title. It's not going to equal wins for the Knicks. That's not the solution for this team.
Right. No, you know what? I agree with that, but I think when it comes down to Melo, look, he did this last season, all right? There was just more ball movement last season. Not just like Melo's not going to pass the ball. It never has his whole career. That's not going to change. Okay, he's been on teams before that have won 50, 55-win games in Denver, in, last season in New York. It's not Melo. It's the rest of the team that the ball needs to move. And honestly, it doesn't. J.R. Smith has not been moving the ball as much. Shumpert, he's not even getting the ball, so I don't even think he's able to move it. Amari's playing now, a couple more minutes, so he's getting touches, but they're all back down post moves. There's no ball movement from him either. And then there's no way to get back in transition. I don't think necessarily ball movement is the real key to this. I think it's just some sort of rhythm. If the Knicks are going to play the way they did last season, it wasn't like they averaged the most assists in the NBA or anything. But it's just they got back. They were able to have some sort of rhythm in the game to get back on defense.
You know what covered up the Knicks' woes last year was the three-ball shot.
That did a lot. You're absolutely right.
Carmelo, they had Steve Novak, they had Chris Copeland, they had all these guys who were jacking up threes, but they were making them.
Right.
The Knicks set the record for most three-pointers taken and most three-pointers made in a season.
Right.
So that covered up, the three-point shot covers up a lot of mistakes. When the three-point, it's such a huge equalizer. When things aren't going right in the game, if you can knock down the three-point shot consistently, it makes all the difference in the world. This year, the Knicks are not doing that. They're not making as many three-point shots. And I think what J.R. Smith was doing last year as opposed to this year is he was getting to the basket.
Right.
He wasn't settling for jump shots, and he was getting to the rim a lot.
Right.
And in doing so, he was either able to get the foul, either to finish at the rim, or got other guys open shots.
Well, that's the other thing. Melo's getting double.
Shots.
Melo's getting double teamed. J.R. Smith's supposed to be your other scoring threat here, like last season, which was taking all. It made guys get off of Melo and go to J.R., which left Melo open or gave Melo more three-point opportunities. I don't see that this year. Also, some positive things to point out right now. I know it's hard. The Knicks only turned the ball over against the Blazers 9 times. So,
and yet they're still getting kind of blown out in that game, which is sad.
Right. But what I'm saying is, not turning the ball over still usually leads to a lot of wins. And if they could keep that up, hopefully they'll come out of this. And, that's one thing to take away. They're not going to get blown out every game because of that.
But that's kind of a bad thing. You're taking that as a good thing. I take that as a bad thing. If they were only turned the ball over 9 times. If they had single-digit turnovers and they still lost by double-digit points, that's awful.
No, it's not good, but what I'm saying is it's good that they
don't
keep the game
close
over a lot.
And you weren't even turning the ball over?
I think going forward, they need – because, look, if turnovers become an issue, that forget it. I mean, that could be the worst – that could be one of the worst things possible if turnovers become an issue. I think they just need to get into more of a rhythm, and I think everything will work itself out.
I don't think they have rhythm.
That's what I mean. They don't have any rhythm. They need to get to that.
Rhythm.
They need to get to that, for sure. They need to get to that. But, I mean, guys, they shouldn't change the way they play. Everyone's saying, well, Melo needs to pass the ball more. Well, everyone said that last season they had 55 wins. So I don't agree with that at all. All right, Melo is who he is. Get off his back. The rest of the team's got to step up. And you know what? Kenyon Martin played unbelievable. He's been playing pretty solid the last couple games. Defensively, he's been around just making blocks, picking off balls, even on offense, making some shots the other night. But you can't rely on him to guard these big centers like Robin Lopez, like LaMarcus Aldridge. You can't rely on him every night to do that. Against Washington, it was him against Gortat. Amari's got to learn to box people out. He's got to learn.
You want to talk about Melo? Everybody wants people to change Melo's game because it's not working, and he said, forget that. Amari's not going to change his game. Amari is who he is, and we knew that before he signed the contract with the Knicks in 2010.
Right.
He's not a rebounder. He's not a defender.
Right.
Now he's lost his elbow jump shot. He used to be able to knock that down. Now he doesn't even have that, and he relies to like this quick step move that he probably learned from Hakeem when he trained with him that summer.
Right.
He's got like this move down low that he shakes one way, goes another. He gets blocked a lot more now when he goes to the rim. I don't know if anybody's paying attention to that, but he gets blocked an awful lot now. He's not going to change. Okay, if he plays 15 minutes and averages 6 points a game, they're going to be lucky with that.
Now look, the Knicks don't have Tyson Chandler. Need a center right now. They
don't have Tyson Chandler. They don't have Raymond Felton, and that's fine.
They need some sort of.
Those guys aren't going to translate this Knicks team to a whole different team.
No, but it shows you how effective Tyson Chandler is defensively for this team.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think
they're the argument that he's more important to the Knicks than Melo is.
Well, and I think it's starting to show. Because I mean, look, they didn't lose the rebounding battle last night. That's for sure. I mean, they lost it, but only by 2 rebounds. It's not like a real loss. That's pretty even. You know, I just think Tyson Chandler, his presence is going to alter a lot of things on the defensive end, and that's going to lead to Knicks transition buckets. You know, they got to pick off. They need Shumpert getting more steals. They can't have an empty stat line from that guy. I mean, it's a disaster. Woodson's got to step up.
They did it to themselves. Look, if the Knicks were a real franchise, what they would do is they would say, we're not talking about trades. Iman Shumpert is not being traded. And they would squash all of the rumors and everything would be done. And then if they traded Shumpert in the future, then they could say, listen, the time came that we needed to trade Shumpert.
Right.
They don't do that. In the media, they say, oh, you know, this is just something that he has to deal with. This comes along with the territory. Right. That's not going to kill the rumors that Shumpert is being shot.
Right.
So here's a young guy. What is he, in his third year? Third or fourth year?
Yep.
Whatever it is?
Yep.
Here's a young guy. He's never been through anything like this where every single day is a new rumor that he's going to get traded, that the Knicks want to trade him. They want to get rid of him. That's a foregone conclusion at this point that he's going to be dealt. He may not know how to deal with that. It's probably breaking him down. You know, the Knicks can come out and just say, listen, we're not going to talk about that. He's not on the trading block, and that's it. We have no trade in place for him right now.
Yeah.
Just squash it for right now.
Honestly, even if there was a trade, like, what are you going to do right now? You're gonna trade the only asset you have, probably make a mistake doing it. You don't have draft picks. You know, that's really what I should ask you. What do you think is going to happen to the Knicks if this keeps up? Because they have nothing to do. They really can't do anything.
They have no draft picks to trade. They gave one to Toronto. One is, I think, for Denver from the Melo thing still. They got rid of all this stuff. You know, it's easy to say in hindsight what was right and what was wrong because we have the benefit. But even in the moment, it was way too much for Melo. I know you wanted Melo to come to New York, but to gut the roster and the future for the one guy, and now he may even opt out at the end of the season and may not even come back. Right. I mean, could you imagine that if Melo at the end of the year opts out and doesn't return to New York, after everything the Knicks gave up and all the draft picks that were included, and you're talking about 2 draft picks, you're talking about Mozgov, you're talking about Wilson Chandler, Danilo Gallinari,
Raymond Felton was in that trade.
Raymond Felton.
I mean, they got him back, but still.
All these pieces, just for the Knicks to go to the second round 1 year in the playoffs. You know, it would be such a disaster for New York.
Right.
I think right now the Knicks are in panic mode, and I know that they're only 3-10, and it's only 13 games into the season.
Yeah.
But you got to be in panic mode. The team is not good. There's injuries all over the place, and your star player has already come out and said that he wants to experience free agency.
Right.
You gotta panic right now. It's bad times. The one positive, the only positive in my opinion from all of this, is that the division leader, Toronto, is only 3 games up.
Right.
That Atlantic division is so bad that the Knicks are 3-10 and only 3 games out.
Right.
You look at the West. Utah, who only has 2 wins.
Right.
So Knicks have 3 wins. Utah has 2 wins.
But, like, that's just it. But they can't think like that. As a team, you can't think, like, oh, we're only 3 games out. It's not like we shouldn't panic.
No. I know you can't think like that.
Can't think like that.
More positive
Can't
is that
do
they're
it.
only 3 games out.
Can't do it.
Look at the difference. Look at the difference, though, between the East and the West. Utah has 2 wins. New York has 3 wins.
Right.
New York is only 3 games out of their division.
Right.
Utah is already 11.5 back. And they're only 1 win away from the Knicks. And they're 11.5 back in their division.
Right.
So that's the one positive. They could be 11.5 back right now.
Right.
But because of their division, they're only 3 back.
Right.
So there's that. And then there's only that.
Right. Well, that's good if you look at it like that, but the Knicks need to get back on track here. They need to, Woodson's got to step it up. It's got to be a joint effort, and the players have to start looking like they care when they go out on the floor. It can't just be mellow. It can't. It's not going to work. All right, and J.R. Smith's got to either look like his old self or play like his old self. This is just getting ridiculous. So, all right.
He is his old self. Look, he's scoring. He's getting his shot attempts. He's not getting to the line a lot. The Knicks as a team are not getting to the free throw line a lot. That's another problem that they're having. They're not getting to the line a lot, and even when they get there, they're not making all their free throws. Woodson came out and was fined, I think, $25K for questioning the officials that they're not giving Melo his foul calls. And I hate that coaches and people openly admit that superstars get the superstar call, and then your coach is coming out and saying, yeah, my player is not getting the superstar call. Because that just says that the game is unfair. If certain guys, if we all know as fans that some guys are going to get the call and other guys aren't, right? Right. But when legit status figures in the NBA, like play-by-play analysts or coaches, are recognizing that superstar calls, right? That I have a problem with that because that's just them openly acknowledging that the game is unfair. Right. That's a whole other thing though. But Melo is not getting to the line. Right. But he's getting his shot attempts. Right. He's playing his basketball. But it's one of two things. The team around him sucks and is not for him, or his style of play sucks and he can't play with his team. Right. So pick and choose.
Well, I got to say, look, despite Melo's never won a championship, he knows in the season how to get wins. He's always been able to come up with a solid win season. So I can't say right now that it's Melo's not for the team. I think right now the team's not for him. I think that's what it comes down to.
Well, here's the thing about that, and it's really simple. Too bad, because he is literally stuck with his team. This is his team. Right. The Knicks, as we spoke about already, do not have assets to trade.
He wanted J.R. Smith to come back, and with J.R. Smith came his brother, who's taking up a roster spot right now. He wanted all of this. Okay, things like that are now happening to this team. But look,
that's what I said. This team is all on him. All right, he wanted to force the trade to New York, right? He needed to come to New York before the lockout. That gutted the Knicks team. Right. Okay? He could have been playing with Gallo and Wilson Chandler and the draft pick, whoever that would have been. Right. And Felton at that time. Right. He could have played with all of them. Right. But no, the team got gutted and he came. Right. Now you fast forward to now. He's openly talking about opting out. Who wants to come to the Knicks when their superstar player is saying, hey, I might not even want to be here. Right. This is the team that he's stuck with. The Knicks are out of options. They can't trade a draft pick for many years down the road. They can't get rid of Stoudemire's contract without taking on equally worse contracts. Right. This is it. This is your team. You have to own it now. This is your team. You gotta figure it out.
And I want to just leave the Knicks topic with one thing, which you said. Being that they don't have draft picks. They don't have like a real future right now. The future is Tim Hardaway Jr. And let me tell you, he has not really played the last couple games all that much. I don't even think he logged a minute in the last game. I don't know why. I don't know why you wouldn't even throw him in just to give you some energy. The guy is a very energetic dude. Even just going up to his teammates off the bench, slapping high fives, trying to stay positive. This is a guy I want on the floor, and he can contribute. We know what he can do. We've seen what he can do. He can hit some big threes. He can get in there and help. I don't know why they're not playing him.
They want to trade Shumpert, right? Because they believe in him.
Look, and I'm not saying take away from Shumpert, but when you have a guy, who's literally in 22 minutes or whatever, not giving you anything but 2 fouls and a turnover. I mean, this is a problem. All right, now whether you got to fix his confidence or not, I'm trying to win a game. I'll worry about his confidence after. I got to win this game. What did Melo say about the gorilla, the monkeys turning into a gorilla on the back? I mean, it's happening. So I'm looking to win games right now. I'm not looking to I'm not really looking to give a crap about players' feelings. This is not the time for that right now. It's time to get wins. It's a business, all right? It's a business. So Tim Hardaway Jr., you're the future. Hopefully Woodson puts you in more. But getting off the Knicks, let's segue into the Nets now, the other side of the river. Brooklyn. Oh, actually, they're not on the other side of the river anymore because they're in Brooklyn. I keep thinking they're in Jersey.
Well, they kind of are because there's water in between Manhattan and Brooklyn.
Right. Okay, so we'll go with it. But they have not looked good at all. We said that from the beginning. All right, these teams never work out the way everyone thinks and hopes that they will. It's rare. It's very rare. Okay.
Yeah, this was we knew, and I know, and I say we because we all said it. This wasn't going to go well.
No.
And I don't care, again, they're 3-10 and it's only 13 games in. I don't give a damn.
Right.
This team is not good. Not in any sense of the word. They have real chemistry, I guess you can call it. Everybody's hurt. You got Darren Williams missing games all the time. Brook Lopez is missing games all the time.
Right.
Kevin Garnett missed some games. He's not going to be able to play back-to-back sometimes.
Right.
Andre Kirilenko is always hurt. Here's the thing.
Even when they're healthy, they don't play well together, though.
That's right. Kevin Garnett, 6.5 points per game is what he's averaging.
Right.
Okay?
Now, wait. Now, what? I know one of our listeners, a good friend of mine, who is a KG fan. He doesn't like when we knock KG. But realistically here, KG's getting old. I mean, it is what it is. It's not. What do you want from Kevin Garnett at this point in his career? All right? The guy's a legend. And to my friend Pete, love Kevin Garnett, love KG. You know, he's always been a competitor. But guys start to break down after a while. And, you know, everyone knew he wasn't going to be this double-double machine or anything. He was there to toughen up Brook Lopez. He was there to anchor the defense a little bit. He's still got that presence. He's veteran leadership. He knows how to win. That's why he's on this team. All right, so look, when Kevin Garnett is your healthiest player right now, and Joe Johnson, and Kevin Garnett's giving you 4 points, 6 points a game, that's not going to get it done. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work. I don't know how many different ways I could say it. It's not going to happen. Just not.
And the Nets are another team. You're stuck with what you're stuck with.
Big time.
You gutted your roster. You traded a whole bunch of draft picks to try to win in the now. And you want to know something? I don't have a problem with that. But the move that was made was awful. Why would you bring on a 37-year-old guy in Kevin Garnett,
right,
who was on the verge of retiring already?
Right.
I mean, there were reports that he was going to retire after that season in Boston.
Right.
And you bring him on. You bring another guy who's only a year younger in Paul Pierce.
Right.
You trade Marshawn Brooks, who I think could have been a very good player. He gets like no playing time now in Atlanta.
Right.
Marshawn Brooks is traded. Draft picks are traded. For Jason Terry, Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce are near the end of their careers. Jason Terry is like an okay player. He's not going to get double-digit points.
No.
And you bring them onto a team that already had problems because Darren Williams and Joe Johnson wasn't a good fit last season.
No.
And you said that.
No. They can't coexist together.
And Joe Johnson is not a good fit this season.
No.
So it's a hodgepodge of players with rookie head coach.
I think it comes down to, look, Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, yeah, they have leadership qualities and they are willing to give up their own numbers. Their egos are going away. They knew that coming to this team. They weren't going to be the egos. But I still think Darren Williams has an ego because I don't think he likes not even being considered an all-star anymore. I think besides his injuries and everything that he's gone through, I think as a player he's really frustrated. And especially with the big contract he has, he's not living up to it right now. And you got Joe Johnson, who makes Kobe money, who literally makes.
Joe Johnson is seriously on the way down in his career, right. I think, in terms of stats.
And look, and this is a guy that, yeah, he's hit some big shots when he was with the Hawks. We know who he is, but it's not like he started in an All-Star game. It's not like he was the best All-Star ever. This guy, he makes a lot of money. And he has it some nights. Some nights he has it. You can't stop him. But when you have a guy in Darren Williams has an ego, and then you have a guy in Joe Johnson who also has an ego because he should be getting the ball, and they're not working together, it's not going to work. It is not going to work. One of those guys has to suck it up. And honestly, because Darren Williams is the point guard, it has to be him because Joe Johnson isn't distributing the ball. He's shooting it. That's what he's paid for. So I got news for you. Until Darren Williams takes a step back and says, you know what? I'm going to only distribute the ball because I have all these guys, all these names on my team. I don't need to look for my shot. I don't need to do this. I just need to pick and choose my spots. That's it. That's all he has to do. He doesn't do that. He doesn't do that. And they're not going to be good until that happens. And Brook Lopez, for the rumors that they're thinking about trading him because of everything that's gone on this season and the owner has got that like Steinbrenner mentality. Oh, well, we got to change this. We got a lot of money invested. We got to change this. I mean, don't be trading Brook Lopez. That may be the biggest mistake of the franchise.
Yeah, and Lopez and Darren Williams are really their only pieces that I think anybody would be interested in. If they obviously they have Reggie Evans who they can trade, but you won't get anything real in return.
Yeah,
you could trade Darren Williams and Brook Lopez and get something real back, but those are your only two pieces.
Exactly.
So you have to make the decision of, do we keep these two guys and weather the storm and then try and re-sign them and go again? Or do we, again, try to win in the now, this isn't working, and try and get some equal talent back? But it's so hard to find a real center, a legit 7-footer who can play. I mean, there are 7-foot players, but maybe they average 4 points and 4 rebounds. Brook Lopez is legit, maybe 21 and 6'7" guy.
Yeah.
You're
and he can shoot outside. And he can shoot outside. He can make outside jump shots.
And he can shoot outside, right.
I like centers that actually have a jump shot. They don't just play the post. They actually can do everything. He's got a lot of potential. He really does.
I kind of think that Darren Williams, they should really start inquiring as to who's interested, because there are other point guards out there that you can maybe trade for. Darren Williams, maybe you can package Darren Williams and something for Damian Lillard. Probably not, but you can at least inquire about it.
Yeah, see what kind of trade bait's out there for sure.
Maybe you can try and get Jameer Nelson and a couple of other pieces from Orlando for Darren Williams, because they have a bunch of young talent down there in Orlando.
Yeah. I think Orlando, but I think they're ready to move Jameer Nelson too, because Oladipo's looking like the real deal. So
yeah, Oladipo that could take over, but and you can ask, maybe Jameer Nelson and Mo Harkless, maybe Jameer Nelson and Andrew Nicholson.
Right.
There's a couple of really young, talented pieces down there.
And that's my other issue. Which you talk about a guy like Mo Harkless. When you're the Nets and you got a guy like Allen Anderson, very similar player, similar position, being the guy that's winning you games because he's putting up like 36 a night, you're not going to win that way. You're not going to win with Allen Anderson giving you that kind of production every night because he's not going to. He's not going to. Mo Harkless, he's a good guy to have on your team, but you can't rely on him to have a big game every night. He's not going to happen.
No.
It's the same with Orlando. But yeah, I agree with you. Bill Simmons said he thinks that something crazy might happen if the Nets continue to keep this up. He thinks a guy like Brook Lopez could get moved. Just something crazy happens.
Oh, of course. He could definitely be moved.
Yeah, because no one's taking the Garnett and Pierce contracts. No one.
No. Nobody wants them anyway. I mean, outside of the contract, they don't contribute at all.
No.
But Garnett is a 6.5 point per game player, and I understand he brings way more to the game. But at the same time, he's 37 years old. He may not be able to play back-to-back.
Right.
You got to watch out for injuries.
Look, Hall of Fame player. He's going to the Hall of Fame. But, it comes to a point where you got to call it a career. It's just the way it is. It's the way it is.
He was in a really good position to play power forward among all these other guys who can score and take the load off of him. He doesn't have to be the guy in Brooklyn, but it hasn't translated that way. And now they're relying on him to do a lot more than what was originally anticipated. Bring him in, help on the boards, because Brook Lopez can rebound to save his life. So help on the boards, bring some toughness on the defense, and that's it. But now nobody's doing anything, so he has to do 10 things more.
I think the only thing that really bothers me about the Garnett situation, because like we said, we knew he wasn't going to give you big numbers. We knew that wasn't going to happen. We just talked about why he was brought to the team. But I think that Garnett really needs to kind of check himself and be like, look, I was complaining at the beginning of the season because I was possibly going to play every other game because they didn't want me to get injured. And then he's like making it a big issue because he's not playing, so they play him and he gets injured. So I think it comes to a point where, look, I'm not taking a shot at Garnett. It's just his body he's coming to that age. He's coming to that age, and it's tough. every player, I can't imagine what every player goes through when you play in the league for so long, multiple all-star games, you win a ring, you've accomplished so much, and you get to that point where you start to think maybe it's time to call it a career, and you can't kind of settle with that. You're not ready, and it's kind of like you're forced to be ready. So I feel bad. I do. I feel bad because I think that's kind of what he's realizing right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if, halfway through the season, he retires. And that, honestly,
No.
Listen.
He has more pride than that. He won't quit on it. He's
well,
not
look, if he doesn't, then at the end of this season, if he calls it a,
that's
career.
a different story.
Look,
this guy is not going to quit on his team.
But what I'm saying is maybe the Nets save some money if that happens.
No.
The end of the season.
No. There's no way he's retiring in the middle. This guy lives and bleeds pride.
Right.
I mean, pride is his whole persona.
Right.
He is the most proudest man in the room. He's going to fight to the bitter end. Doesn't matter what the score is. He is not quitting on this team. That will, tarnish his whole legacy.
Well, no.
Go against everything he's built.
I'm not saying quit on this team, but if injuries
That's quitting on your team.
I'm saying if he retires after the season, maybe I shouldn't have
After
said.
the season,
Maybe I should have said during the season. But if he retires after the season, then the Nets may have some That's a big contract you're getting rid of if that happens. So,
that's a different story.
Well, I'm just saying this team needs options. They need to find it from somewhere. So.
Well, this is the predicament you put yourself in when you get all these new pieces, put them together, throw a rookie head coach in the middle, and say, go play basketball.
Guess what? Billy King did something similar in Philadelphia. He brought Chris Webber to the Sixers in a huge trade, killed their draft picks, killed everything, and paired him with Allen Iverson. They didn't even make the playoffs. I look at this trade as something similar and pairing a bunch of big names, thinking you guys are going to win. This was an Isaiah Thomas trade. Billy King is the existing Isaiah Thomas general manager in the NBA, in my opinion. A guy that just doesn't care about salary, doesn't care about draft picks. He puts a bunch of names on paper and says, go to work. And I don't think you can win like that. It's not a video game. This is real life. This is not fantasy hoops.
It's a fair point. And I don't know why teams don't take a lesson out of the Spurs playbook. Look at what the Spurs do. They never go out and do that. They've had the same three guys together for like a millennia, it seems like. Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili. And they've just built around those three guys consistently. And I know you're not always going to get a guy like Tim Duncan in the draft. Fine. But at some point, you come across a draft pick like that, or you sign one player like that, and you just keep going. And just when you think the Spurs don't have it anymore, they still have it. Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard. It's not like the Spurs have like this looking into that tells them who to draft and tells them who to sign. You can do it too. Just do your homework. Stop trying to win it all in one season. Look at Golden State. How long were they bad for? They were awful for so many years.
Yeah.
And now they're one of the best teams in the NBA. Why? They draft Klay Thompson. They draft Steph Curry.
Right.
They draft Harrison Barnes.
Right.
Oh, David Lee. Sure, we'll trade for you. There's our one big guy that we brought in not through the draft. This is what you do. You build through the draft. You bring in one or two guys from free agency. You don't go out there and try and put a fantasy basketball team together.
You know what else? I think coaching is a big thing, too. And, the Nets definitely have that problem right now. They have a rookie head coach who is the wrong candidate for this job at this point in time. You don't just bring a rookie in with a ton of these guys and just expect things to happen. And you brought that up numerous times, saying that this was going to be maybe their biggest question mark. Can this guy actually coach? And supposedly he's not coaching. There's been friction between him and Lawrence Frank. I mean, there's been a lot of issues because I think Jason Kidd is still learning that being a coach and being a veteran leader on a team are two totally different things. Totally different things. And
100%.
And then, you go back to the point of building a model franchise after the Spurs and then the Warriors with the draft. I mean, coaching comes into that. Coaching, Mark Jackson was a great fit for the Warriors. His personality, the way he coaches, the freedom he gives these younger players, and the belief, he's a good coach for that team. I think that says a lot, too.
See, and here's the difference. See, and if somebody comes up and tries to say, hey, Mark Jackson was a rookie head coach when he took over Golden State, true. But he spent years after retiring outside of the game. He went and did play-by-play and color analyst. He was able to talk to a whole bunch of coaches. He was around the game when he wasn't a player. We're talking about Jason Kidd literally jumped from uniform to suit.
Right.
In a week. You can't do that. He spent time away from the game. He learned a lot. I can guarantee you. I never spoke to him about this. But all those years away, you got to pick up some stuff that you never picked up as a player.
Yeah.
And being a floor general as a player as opposed to a floor general as the coach are two different things.
Definitely.
As a player, you're basically just giving your opinion to the coach saying, hey, look, this is what I'm seeing, blah, blah. As a coach, you're the one making the calls.
Right.
It's two totally different things.
No, totally agreed. Totally agreed. All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will talk more Derrick Rose. Not more Derrick Rose. We will talk Derrick Rose.
Right.
And I guess some Portland Trailblazers. We got to get into Portland. That'll be good.
You have to.
Yeah. There's a lot we got to get into. So stick around. Kyle. Talkin Hoopz, baby. Talkin Hoopz, talkinhoops.com. Mark Strickland, get your ass back here, baby. Come on. Next week. Come on, Strick. All right, stick around. We'll be back.
Don't foul out. Talkin Hoopz will be right back. I'm Mark Sanchez with a message for women. This is the actual sound of my heartbeat. I'm sharing my heart to let you know that the symptoms of women's heart attacks can be different from men's. Please learn more. All it takes is a few minutes of your time in return for years of healthy life. That's a deal even my agent couldn't negotiate. Cover your heart. Learn more. CBS cares.
The new free CBS radio app streams your favorite CBS radio stations, as well as all your favorite AOL and Yahoo music stations directly to your iPhone, iPod Touch, and BlackBerry Bold. With 30 genres of professionally programmed stations at your fingertips, you can hear whatever you want, whenever you want. Stations like K-Rock, 1010 Wins, WFAN, AMP, and over 600 others. Now you can easily take your favorite stations with you on the go. The CBS radio app is everything you wanted from streaming radio and a whole lot more. Go to cbsradio.com/mobile to download your app today.
This is AJ, and you're checking out Talkin Hoopz, where you can hear the true legends of basketball. If you missed any of the action from today's show, you can find the full episode on talkinhoops.com or youtube.com/talkinhoops. And don't forget to follow @Talkin Hoopz on Twitter and give us a like on Facebook for all the latest around the league.
This week's episode, Bobcat in the Cave.
Gosh, Johnny, playing in the cave sure is neat. Oh boy, a kitty cat. Sassy, the kitty cat's yelling. What, Sassy? It's not a kitty, it's a bobcat? Speaking of cats, you'd like to stress the importance of adopting cats from animal shelters? Over 5 million cats go into animal shelters every year? And with millions of healthy cats to choose from, it's a shame more people don't adopt from shelters? This bobcat's heavy. Help, Sassy! Why bother? We'll just get into more trouble tomorrow? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, nuts.
Sassy is brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org. Remember, adopt.
My dream is to become a mechanical engineer. My dream is to be a ballerina.
My dream is to be a veterinarian.
I want to be a chef, truck driver,
a teacher, a shoe designer,
professional skateboarder.
But right now, I'm just a
kid.
Just a kid.
I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid ready to be adopted.
Ready to be adopted.
I'm just a kid ready to be adopted. For the facts about adopting a child from foster care, contact the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption.
Hey guys, this is AJ. Want to talk more hoops? Bring the show in overtime. Check out talkinhoops.com. Catch ya on the rebound.
Welcome back to Talkin Hoopz.
About 15 players in the team. 14 get along.
Now here's a guy who likes to dunk
on an 8.5-foot rim. Take it away, AJ.
And we are back. Talkin Hoopz, talkinhoops.com. AJ with you for this half of the show. Kyle had to dip out. But we're going to get right into this. Chicago Bulls, Derrick Rose goes down with a torn meniscus. That was a big injury for them. And I'm not too sure how the Bulls are going to recover from this. Not looking good their last game against Utah. Did not get the win. Luol Deng and Carlos Boozer become the featured offensive guys. Noah plays as good a defense as anybody in the league. So that'll be good for them. But I don't think this team is really going to be even a top 4 team anymore in the East. So it's going to be tough. Derrick Rose averaging 15.9 points per game this season after missing a whole year. Only played 10 games. That went with 3.2 rebounds, 4.3 assists. So little, obviously not his old self, but he could get there. He was coming back into shape, and then this is what happened. So it's tough. It's a tough injury for Chicago, but they got a good coach. They still got a good amount of talent on the roster to make some noise in the playoffs. But as far as the season, I don't think they're going to be that impressive. Probably finish with the 6th or 7th spot in the East. Definitely not a top 4 team. Mike James is going to be having to pick up the load off the bench at point guard. Kirk Heinrich, obviously, who's been the backup, he'll be starting. Maybe I'm trying to see here. Marquise Teague, Jeff Teague's younger brother, maybe he gets to see some more playing time now with Rose out. But it's going to be a struggle, I think. And Luol Deng's contract situation. Do they keep this guy? Do they make him the franchise player? Because it doesn't look like Rose is coming back anytime soon. They say he's out for this whole season. I doubt he's even going to play next season just because of everything. This is an injury-prone player at this point. So Luol Deng, does he become your guy? All-star player. Small forward, very good defensive guy, can guard multiple positions. Do you trade him now because of the situation? Maybe look for this draft. Jabari Parker, Wiggins, and Randall. These guys are all coming out of college and should be immediate impact guys. Can the Bulls get in on that and get a new franchise player to kind of replace the Derrick Rose spot on the roster? That's still yet to be seen. I think Luol Deng has a shot if the Bulls decide to re-sign him or come to a contract extension with him. Yeah, I think that's a good move, but you could definitely get some good talent for him as well. Maybe move him to a team like Charlotte, who still has draft picks to trade. Maybe move him to a team like New York, who's struggling. I don't know, but you could get some talent for Luol Deng for sure. And then Carlos Boozer, this guy's got to be on his A game. If the Bulls have any shot at doing anything, a lot is going to rely on him, not just as a role player, but as a go-to player. Okay, Derrick Rose, not with the team. Had a good year last season, Carlos Boozer, but now with Derrick Rose being absent, he's really got to step it up and perform. This is what he's got to do. So, Booze, step it up, get on your A game, bring it every night, and stay healthy. Please. Chicago Bulls fans need you to stay healthy. But, look, they're well coached. Tom Thibodeau, I think he does a great job with them, especially on the defensive end. This team is always going to be there defensively. So whenever you're good defensively, you always give yourself a chance to win. But Luol Deng and Carlos Boozer, the scoring load is really going to be on you. So I think that's really what it's going to come down to. Derrick Rose, I think it was a shock that you went down. I think only playing 10 games, put up solid numbers, but clearly were not yourself. And, it's a shame to see you go down again, but everybody loves you. Everybody loves you. I mean, this could be the next Grant Hill story. Great player, but injuries just killed his career, and that's really what it's looking like right now. But, just get well soon, man. I know it's frustrating, but get well soon. All right, so let's shift over to the Lakers. Kobe Bryant, who just came back from a torn Achilles, practicing with the team, secretly signing an extension with the Lakers, having talks with L.A. Kobe Bryant. I'll show a little Kobe Bryant injury on the screen there. That was last season. That's tough. That's a tough injury. Lakers could really use him right now, too. Not exactly the best team in the league right now. See, the Lakers are holding, they're 500 team in the West, 7-7. That's not going to get it done going into the playoffs. You need to do better. They could definitely use him. a guy like Kobe, who demands the ball almost every play down the floor, and then also is similar to Carmelo Anthony, where once he gets the ball, he's really not going to pass it as much. I don't know if that's the right fit in a D'Antoni system. It didn't really work that well last season, but now with Dwight Howard being out of the mix, Kobe comes back into a situation where they could really use him. So, yeah, Kobe signing the extension. What is it, $45 million over 2 seasons? I think that's solid. I mean, that's probably the perfect thing right now for them and for him in his career. He's looking to retire anyway soon, so to be able to compete at a high level and be worth the money that they're going to be paying him. Was it a good move? A lot of people say no. I think for Lakers fans, just like the Yankees signed Derek Jeter, you got to do it. I mean, Kobe's a Laker for life. Maybe the best Laker of all time to a lot of people. So this had to be done. But if he comes back and he's his old Kobe from last season, which I have a feeling he's going to be, maybe even better, because this guy is like Kevin Garnett. He's big with pride and just is a true warrior, just a fighter every single night. As Meta World Peace would say, true warrior. So Kobe just doing his thing. Hopefully it comes through for the Lakers this season, but it's gonna be tough. The Lakers are in a tough spot right now. There's a lot of good teams in the West. You're looking at San Antonio, Portland out of nowhere. We'll talk about them in a little bit. Portland 13-2. Oklahoma City holding down the fort there also, but San Antonio 13-1, Portland 13-2, Oklahoma City 9-3, and the Clippers and Houston Rockets are both 10-5. The other LA team is looking like the bigger franchise name right now, so Kobe needs to come back to the Lakers ASAP and hopefully change that. I know Jack Nicholson sitting on the sidelines wishing in his sunglasses, wishing Kobe Bryant would come back. So we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. Definitely going to be interesting. Now, we talk about the Portland Trailblazers just beating the Knicks. They're getting it done. Everybody on this team just knows how to win. Everybody on this team knows how to win. It's kind of crazy, actually. Wesley Matthews stepping up, having a good season. Nick Batum signing that extension, $44 million extension over 3 years in the offseason. He's coming through, filling out the stat sheet. Robin Lopez, nice surprise. I don't think people knew what they were with the Blazers. I don't even think the Blazers knew they were going to get this much production from Robin Lopez. They knew he was defensive-minded, but he's really finishing plays for them. I really like what he's given the team. LaMarcus Aldridge, obviously your double-double all-star guy. He was an all-star player last season, voted to the team, so you knew what you're getting with LaMarcus Aldridge. And then the Rookie of the Year, Damian Lillard, he's really coming to his own, and after being more of a looking for his shot last season, this year looking to distribute a little bit more, and it's showing. He's really picking and choosing his spots. What Kyle and I were talking about earlier with Darren Williams, that's what you need. You need a guy who's going to pick and choose his shots to run a team. That's what a good point guard does. Darren Williams needs to do that right now. He needs to stop, get his ego out of his butt, and start looking for his teammates a lot more. But Damian Lillard doing that, Blazers are showing because they're 13-2, so they are showing right now that you pass the ball, you move the ball, and everyone contributes. This is how you get wins, and they're a nice little surprise to this season. So I'm happy with the Blazers. If you're a fantasy owner, you got to be happy with every single player on that team because everybody's putting up numbers. Everyone. Every single person is putting up numbers. So it's a good time to be a Blazers fan, especially with everything you've gone through, from Brandon Roy to Greg Oden. It's just great to see them come out and have a guy like Damian Lillard, Rookie of the Year, an all-star like LaMarcus Aldridge, a small-town NBA team in the West coming through in a big way, and they're in second place right now, just with one extra loss behind the Spurs. So, and you know what? Props to the coaching staff. Seriously, Terry Stott's really doing a good job with this team. I know we didn't really talk too much about this on our website, talkinhoopz.com, but there was a nice little scuffle in the Warriors-Blazers game. I started with Andrew Bogut. I wish we had the video to bring up, but started with Andrew Bogut and Joe Freelander getting into it. Marcus Aldridge steps in, pushes the guy. Mo Williams being held back. Jermaine O'Neal comes in, and he was injured from the Warriors coming in, pushing Mo Williams. Mo Williams got suspended. Wes Matthews got fined. LaMarcus Aldridge got fined. Andrew Bogut had gotten suspended on the Warriors. But, that was probably the only down point with the Blazers in the last couple of games. Overall, they've been just great. You can't complain. 13-2 start. They're looking like a really, really good team. Obviously going to be a playoff team this season if the play keeps up. But I am a fan right now, loving what they're doing in Portland. Keep it up. Keep it up. And they beat our Knicks, so shout out to them. Shout out to the Portland Trailblazers. Another team in the West that was hot and kind of sizzled out a little bit is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now only 8-8 on the season. They did lose their last 2 games, so it's been a little struggle for them. But Kevin Love, number 4 in scoring this season so far. So he's got to keep it up, keep playing at a high level. They got to make some trades, and actually, I know they just traded the 2nd overall pick 2 years ago, Derrick Williams, to the Sacramento Kings for Bama Amute, and I mean that guy's a good defensive player, Bamute, but I don't know if he's really what they were looking for. They got enough bigs on that roster. They also got Chase Budinger coming back from an injury. The Wolves, I mean, look, they're a good team on paper. They just got to keep up the play. They got a good coach, Rick Adelman, J.J. Barea, off the bench as a point guard, Ricky Rubio, your starting point guard, and Kevin Martin playing out of his mind this season, which has been big. He's won some games by himself for them. So the Wolves are another team that started off hot, starting to sizzle down a little. They're starting to sizzle a little bit, but not too promising in the West. Denver's 7-6. They're in the 8th spot right now. So, I mean, there's still a lot. It's still early in the season. There's still a lot to be played, but you got to go with the Minnesota Timberwolves making the playoffs this season. I know Kyle and I both put them in there, so we can't count them out for sure. Can't count out the Minnesota Timberwolves. Moving on, just going down the list here. We talked about teams that have been surprising, the Blazers, the Wolves. Phoenix is another team, 7-7 now. They were surprised, and they have lost their last game. So, Phoenix got to get it together, but they didn't have too much expectations. They're kind of coming back down to earth. This is what Kenny Anderson told us last show. It's so early in the season. Guys, teams are coming out playing hard. Guys that are performing, putting up big numbers, that's going to start to change soon. Players are starting to come back down to earth. That's what we're seeing right now. So, Phoenix, Eric Bledsoe on and off every day with a shin injury. Sometimes he plays, sometimes he doesn't. Turnovers was a key for the Suns not doing well. So they got to really cut down on their turnovers. But these are teams that were surprises. It goes back to Minnesota, goes back to Portland. The Suns are another team, and New Orleans, kind of like a 50-50 shot here. I thought they'd make the playoffs. They may still make the playoffs. Only 6-7 right now. That's a tough spot. They're not getting anything from Tyreek Evans. I know many of my friends who had him in their fantasy leagues are dropping him. So he's really got to figure out what kind of a player he is, who he wants to be for this team, find his role. Monty Williams has to find a good role for him because he's just not producing at all. He's been a real letdown this season, and he was somewhat of a big signing for them. So got to think that this guy is going to snap out of it and start contributing. Drew Holiday, the starting point guard. Anthony Davis balling this season. I voted for him to start in the All-Star game. He's been playing out of his mind. Mr. Unibrow himself doing his thing. You got to love it. Anthony Davis, baby. Show me some love. Show me some love. If you're hating Anthony Davis this season, you're crazy, because even if you're not a Pelicans fan, this guy is he's just talent. Multiple blocks a game, 20-something points, 11 rebounds. Guy's a monster. I think he's got a couple assists, like 1 or 2 assists there also. Guy's a monster. Absolute monster. He's the real deal. Had some injury problems last season, but he's really come through for this team, and he's showing you that this guy is the face of the franchise. So, great pick by the Pelicans. Great talent in Anthony Davis, and I'm loving the unibrow. I wish I had a unibrow to love myself And maybe I could trademark that. I'm going with the chin strap look here, though. We'll go with that. We'll go with that for sure. Talkin Hoopz. Oh, man. All right. As we go down the West, Sacramento has been a little – Kyle called it. Kyle said Sacramento was not going to be that good. I just love the talent on this team. I thought they would be a little bit better than they are. I have DeMarcus Cousins on my fantasy team personally. I have not given up on this guy. Shaquille O'Neal has not given up on this guy. The fans of Sacramento have not given up on this guy. He is having a solid season. You can't hate DeMarcus Cousins. You can hate his attitude, but you can't hate the way he's playing. This is the time the Kings need to make a trade. They have to. They have to make a trade because I know they just got Derrick Williams, but again, that's a risky move because Derrick Williams hasn't proven anything. I don't know why people think he's going to prove something in Sacramento, especially with the boatload of forwards and guards. They just have too many guys. They have so much trade bait themselves. They really need to start looking to make some moves, hopefully by the deadline. They got Grievous Vasquez and Isaiah Thomas. Either keep one, move one, whatever you want to do. You don't need both of them. Okay, you definitely do not need both these guys. You got a boatload of forwards, and I know they just traded one of them to the Wolves, but you still got Chuck Hayes, you still got Landry, you still got I know that he's injured. Who's the other? You got DeMarcus Cousins, you got Jason Thompson, who either start him or have him, or if you're not having him as the backup, then trade him. Seriously, then just trade him. But the Kings got a ton of talent. Isaiah Thomas is having a really good year. So I would guess that he would be the guy to keep. Vasquez not having a terrible year, but just not as impressive as Isaiah Thomas, who is leading, in my opinion, the sixth man of the year candidate so far, averaging like 18, 19 points off the bench, which is just crazy. Crazy, seriously. Isaiah Thomas just playing out of his mind. So for the Kings fans, look, you got a lot of fun players to watch on this team, but I think it's time for the GM to just kind of make a move and start to look towards the future for winning. And if not, trade for a draft pick. You know, there's some good talent. Marcus Smart, another good point guard coming out of college this year. Not that you really could need him, but you could draft him and trade him. He's going to be a wanted player next season. Next season, I'm really looking forward to next season. This season's been pretty even, to say the least. Even. Miami is 11-3. Atlanta's 8-6. Toronto's 6-7. I know it's the beginning of the season. We keep saying that. I do keep saying that. But the league is just even this year. LA Clippers, Houston, 10-5. Dallas, 9-6. Golden State, 8-6. Denver, 7-6. Memphis not in the playoffs, 7-7. Minnesota not in the playoffs, 8-8. Lakers not in the playoffs, 7-7. Phoenix, 7-7. This is an even league. Anybody can beat anybody on any given night right now. So next season, you got some real difference makers in Randall, Wiggins, and Parker, and Marcus Smart. These are all franchise changers. You got three guys that potentially could be as good as guys like LeBron James and Kevin Durant, all coming into the league at once next season. Everybody's got to get in on this. I've been watching these guys in college. They look unbelievable. Teams that need help, you need to figure out a way to get into this draft. And teams like Sacramento, teams like Milwaukee, who I think are doing that anyway, but Washington, Philadelphia they were a nice surprise to the season, now kind of coming back down to earth. These are the teams that need to look to this draft. And I say that because I don't think drafts after this are going to be as powerful. I don't. This is like a once in a decade, maybe once in a lifetime type of draft. That's how good I think these guys are. I know you get guys like Dwayne Wade, LeBron James in the same draft, Chris Bosh. That was a great draft. It was. There was a lot of talent. And then the following year with Dwight Howard, I think Chris Paul, Darren Williams were in that also. But this is, I'm telling you, these four guys. There's maybe one other guy there too I'm not mentioning right now, but these four guys, they're immediate impact players and franchise faces immediately becoming franchise faces. So get in on this while you can. All right, we're going to start to wrap up the show here as I get to it. There it is. All right. Wrapping up the show. Doing it solo the second half. Haven't done this in a while. It's fun, though. I love talking to these guys. Everybody that knows me, know I'm here for you to talk hoops. AJ, Kyle, Mark Strickland will be back with us next week for sure. NBRPA Miami chapter, NBRPA Miami NBARetirement.com. That's the National Basketball Retired Players Association's Miami chapter. Check them out. A lot of good stuff happening with that organization. All-Star Weekend, New Orleans. We will be there at the gala for the retired players. That should be a lot of fun. But for AJ, for Kyle, for Mark, for Talkin Hoopz, we'll catch you guys on the next.
Until Talkin Hoopz comes back into play, stay connected by getting at us on iTunes. Keep up to date with all the latest basketball news and rumors and check out all our shows by logging on to talkinghoops.com.
Catch you on the rebound.